And once again, I want to say greetings to each and every one of you, Aquaba, and welcome. Welcome to another round of the Conscious Roster Report here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, here on livinginblack.com. My name is Keedy Awadu, aka the Conscious Roster. Weekday mornings, you and I get together live. We come at you from 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's 12 noon Eastern time, 5 p.m. GMT. And 8 p.m. East Africa time, we get together with you and we deal with culture, consciousness, historical perspectives. We deal with entertainment, economics, education, health, labor, law, politics, religion, family, conflict, future studies, all areas of human interactivity and development. Today's date is Thursday. It is the 22nd day of May. 2022 in the Western calendar, 2025 in the Western calendar. This corresponds to the year 6265 in the Kemetic calendar, to which we've realigned our cultural clock. Welcome to the 7th millennium. You have found your family in a peaceful place here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, here on livinginblack.com. Let me tell you about my show for today. I hope you find it to be compelling, to be fascinating. Let me tell you what is going on. And I have so many different windows open. I'm going to get this window open. And let me tell you about the program for today. Open in a new tab. There we go. Today on LIB Radio, I recently submitted an abstract on our ongoing idea of Kujichagulia villages, a practical plan for self-development. I submitted the abstract to the International Conference on Environment, Social Governance, and Sustainability Development of Africa. It was accepted. I got the notice this morning. Now I am preparing for another trip to Ghana to present at this conference. First, I will need to convince Africans across the diaspora to assist with the grand plan. Let's look closely at this idea of us uniting to engage the African future. So that's where we stand with the Kujichagulia villages. And I'm very, very proud, as you can understand. I am very proud to be in the stage, to be presenting all of this. And we are going to make a big difference. We really, truly are going to, this is it. We've been building up to this our whole life, and we're going to go for it. Let's talk about what entails this plan. Now, first of all, let me share with you the abstract that I submitted to them, and you tell me, does this sound quite exciting? The abstract is entitled Kujichagulia Villages, a Practical Plan for Self-Determination. And let me move this over here so I have it handy. Abstract. First, the purpose. Since 2008, a dedicated group of Africans operating in the U.S., the Caribbean, and West Africa has engaged in building a number of small landholder projects under the banner of Kujichagulia Villages. Our vision is to develop a thriving permaculture campus that equips members with the practical skills for self-reliance. Point 2, design, methodology, and research. On land acreage owned by diaspora Africans at 4 locations in the U.S., as well as 2 plots in Ghana and another in Uganda, we taught and developed skills that would lead us to create these communities as independent, self sustaining properties. We drew heavily on the approaches developed by Doctors Booker T. Washington and George Washington Carver in creating the Tuskegee Institute, which utilized African labor and building techniques. Point three, our findings. The experience taught us key principles of organic farming as we planted orchards, organic gardens, built camping facilities, and learned a vast spectrum of activities aimed at nurturing indigenous living communities. Our campuses evolved into permaculture hubs, identifying up to 110 distinct economic activities. Implementation policy. We intend to commence the process of expanding the creation of these villages across the African landscape. We possess 37 of Dr. Carver's bulletins detailing how to transform raw materials like ground nuts and sweet potatoes into a variety of products. We have gathered a diverse group of participants equipped with the skills needed to advance this innovative vision of autonomous communities. So that is the Kujichagulia villages, a practical plan for self-determination. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to change pages, and we are going to go to the page where we are going to share the Kujichagulia villages plan. So I am here at StreamYard. I'm going to put this up on the stage, and you should be able to see right now the image of the PowerPoint presentation that I aim to present for today. The first page is, of course, entitled Kujichagulia Villages, a practical plan for reparations, for repairing ourselves. This is written for the International Conference on Environment, Social Governance, and Sustainable Development of Africa 2025. So bear with me here. I think I've got it all up and running. And let's turn the pages. And I want you to follow along with me. Now, I would love to hear from you, our listening audience. I know you're out there today. I just know you are out there today. And as a consequence of you being out here today, we welcome you all as we go into this conversation. If you do want to speak up, I would encourage you to do so. Please do. Now, let's go forward. This is the PowerPoint presentation, and let's start turning the pages. Intentional communities as survival arcs. I begin this lecture with this quote by the great Marcus Mosiah Garvey. He said, and I quote, "Let the sky and God be our limit, and eternity our measurement. There is no height to which we cannot climb by using the active intelligence of our own minds. Mind creates, and as much as we desire in nature, we can have through the creation of our own minds." Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Crossroads, we are at the crossroads. Is it collapse or is it rebirth? We go to Cheikh Anta Diop from the book Civilization or Barbarism. He said, thus, imperialism, as the hunter of prehistory, killed the being first spiritually and culturally before seeking to destroy it physically. The negation of history and of the intellectual accomplishments of Black African people is the cultural and mental murder which has already taken place and has paved the way for genocide here and there in the world, from our wise and esteemed ancestor Sheikh Anta, from his book, Civilization or Barbarism. Africans have problems, challenges, and we do have opportunities. Let me list some of these. We're talking about the clash of civilizations, game theory on a global scale, the end of the US hegemonic empire. So, what's next? Fade to black, the passing of a great race, the repairing, and a practical plan to recreate the Black Wall Street model for sovereign, sustainable development. Paradigm shift, the next empowering pathway for Afri-Amer development. Kujichagulia villages, intentional communities as survival arcs and sustainable living permaculture academies. The Nguzu Saba, the 7 principles should and must be implemented every day of every year. The Tuskegee Model Blueprint for land, labor, education, investment, and governance, all areas of people activity. Number 9, Kujichagulia Village's book and 110 economic strategies as a parallel to Dr. Carver's 43 Tuskegee bulletins. And the global wellness future and the impending arrival of $8 trillion in annual health and wellness economic activity. The future belongs to those best prepared to create that future today. I repeat, the future belongs to those best prepared to create that future today. That's who we are. That's where we're at. And we welcome each and every one of you to let us know what you think about what it is that you are hearing. Let's continue, if you don't mind. I am Ka Kidi Awadu, the brother from the future. I am the founder and CEO of Black Star Media Global. I am the author of over 60, or I'm the author of 60 published books. I am a scientific futurist, which consists of 15 interlinked disciplines. I am an award-winning raw vegan chef. I do work as a clinical nutritionist and functional medicine consultant. I am also an ordained Kemetic priest. I am an alchemist. I transform that which is dull into that which is brilliant. I am Ka. Now, let's talk first about game theory and this idea of the clash of civilizations. Rule number one, survival of the fittest. Malcolm X said the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. We are going toward survival of the fittest. We're talking about building health and wellness facilities within international or intentional communities. Intentional communities is another way of looking at another term for the Kujichagulia villages, intentional communities. We're going to design these Kujichagulia villages for an Africa rising utopian future of our own development. The Kujichagulia Villages book is our blueprint, a practical plan for reparations. Kujichagulia villages in Africa for the future. We could build them in America, as we have done since 2008, but it's transient. And it appears to me that it's only going to get worse. Of the 4 Kujichagulia villages that we had been building on, only 2 of them now exist. And quite simply, we cannot afford that attrition rate. the economic viability of the new Black towns, self-determined permaculture and innovation campuses, building health and wellness facilities within our intentional communities to serve an emerging global wellness market, expected to expand from today's current 5.5 billion to expand by another 5.9 trillion, I intended to say, expected to expand another 2.9 trillion before 2028, or by 2028, $2.9 trillion expansion above the $5.5 trillion existing global wellness economy. Let me clarify those points. Going forward, Kujichagulia villages, let's talk about the daily life in our own communities. And we want to talk about Kujichagulia villages as a practicable plan for reparations. We did that, repeat that twice, because that is very, very important. The Kujichagulia Wellness Resorts mission statement. So we've got a lot on the table for today. If we do not have a plan for action and actions for our plan, then we are doomed to reacting to what others do to us. Let's go forward. Let's talk about the clash of civilizations. We're going to refer to the book by Samuel P. Huntington, which I have up on the desktop. The Clash of Civilizations. He wrote, and I quote, "It is my hypothesis that the fundamental source of conflict in this new world will not be primarily ideological or primarily economic. The great divisions among humankind and the dominating source of conflict will be cultural. Nation states will remain the most powerful actors in world affairs, but the principal conflicts of global politics will occur between nations and groups of different civilizations. The clash of civilizations will dominate global politics. The fault lines between civilizations will be the battle lines of the future." And that quote is from Samuel P. Huntington. I think we could see that coming up today. This is incredibly current. This book came out in March 1996, Samuel P. Huntington. And just today, or yesterday, I would say, the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, came to the United States to talk to Donald Trump about restoring relations between South Africa and the United States. But Donald Trump chastised him and accused Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of South Africa, of committing genocide against the whites of South Africa. You may have heard that recently South Africans are now allowed in the United States as political refugees. Meanwhile, Israel and the Palestinians, that doesn't count as genocide. Meanwhile, the genocide against African people in the United States, citizens of this country, we do not count. Donald Trump does not see us. Now, Donald Trump is just beginning his second term. I can assure you, as Donald Trump gets crazier and crazier into his mental state, it is going to get worse for us. Therefore, the Kujichagulia villages might just be the best plan that we could come up with for escaping what lies immediately ahead. Game theory, the global chessboard. Here are 4 key terms commonly used in the study of game theory. Number 1, the game. Number 2, the players. Number 3, strategy. Number 4, payoff. Game, any set of circumstances that has a result dependent on the actions of 2 or more decision makers, the so-called players. Point 2, players, a strategic decision maker within the context of the game. Strategy, a complete plan of actions a player will take given the set of circumstances that might arise within the game. Payoff, the payout a player receives from arriving at a particular outcome. The payout can be in any quantifiable form from dollars to utility. Game theory tries to understand the strategic actions of two or more players in a given situation containing set rules and outcomes. The focus of game theory is the game, which serves as a model of an interactive situation among rational players. The key to game theory is that one player's payoff is contingent on the strategy implemented by the other player. Let's go forward. Let's talk about the collapse of the American empire. We're going to be referring to a book from Johann Galtung, The Fall of the U.S. Empire, and then what? Successors, regionalization or globalization, U.S. fascism or U.S. blossoming. The collapse of the American empire. Empire life cycles. Galtung argues that all empires follow a life cycle of rise and fall. The American empire is no exception. By examining historical patterns, he highlights the inevitability of decline. Point 2, synergizing contradictions. From Johann Galtung's writings, the book introduces the concept of synergizing contradictions. Galtung uses this theory to predict the fall of the Soviet Union in 1980. He applied a similar framework to analyze the present decline of the American empire. Mapping possible futures. Galtung doesn't stop at describing the decline. He maps out political futures for both the United States and the world. These scenarios consider various factors, including domestic changes and global dynamics. Blueprint for a desirable global future. Beyond analyzing the decline, Galtung offers a blueprint for a desirable global future. This involves envisioning alternatives to the current power structures and exploring pathways toward a more harmonious and equitable world. U.S. fascism or blossoming. The book raises critical questions about the United States trajectory. Will it succumb to authoritarianism and fascism, or can it transform into something better? Galtung encourages readers to reflect on these possibilities. The collapse of the American empire, and then what? We go forward. I wrote the book Fade to Black in 2020. We have been locked in steerage class on a sinking Titanic. Fade to Black, the passing of a great race. According to the detailed research contained in this book, Afri-Americans have only about 43 years before we disappear as a viable group within the U.S. Across so many key areas of group integrity, we have been failing. Our population numbers have hit a brick wall and will commence dropping very rapidly in the decades ahead. At a time of rapid and profound change, the best informed competitor has the most significant advantage. As a social, ethnic, or racial group, we, Africans born anywhere in the world, have an absolute right to exist as a group. As individuals within the larger body, members of this group have an obligation to do that which is within our abilities to ensure that our race survives and thrives. We must act today to preserve life liberty, health, wealth, and sustainable prosperity for the next 20 generations to follow ours. We must act today. Fade to Black, The Passing of a Great Race. Summary of the book. This book explores the historical struggles faced by global African descended people. It emphasizes the need for Africans born anywhere in the world to exist as a group and protect their race from exploitation, racism, and crimes against humanity. It highlights the continuous assaults against African descended people, both historically and in the present day. Compared to nationally reported killings of our group's members by law enforcement actions, Blacks kill others of our own group each year at a ratio of 8.85 to 1. That is 8.85 killings of our own people to 1 killing by law enforcement. Compared to law enforcement killings, bad medical practices kill Blacks at a rate of 585 to 1. Far greater than killer cops. Abortion terminates Black pregnancies at a rate of 1,067 to 1 annually within the United States. Due to our failure to respond to these high attrition rates, causing decimation to our group's demographics, I question whether Black Lives Matter is anything more than just a media propagated phenomena. Let's look closer at internecine violence, iatrogenic death, and voluntary abortion to confirm the data that supports our analysis and conclusions. Now, you may or may not have heard these statistics before, but from my perspective, this is incredibly, incredibly shocking. Let us go forward and see what we can do about all of this. The repairing. Wait, 1 second. Yeah, the repairing, making reparations practical. Now we're starting to get to the solutions, and we need to focus on solutions. The repairing offers a roadmap to success. It is a guidebook to programmatic action. Afri-Americans, or Afri-Amers, as I use the term, need to dramatically move away from empty slogans and shift into action. As we move forward, it is time to exorcise the ghosts of slavery, to slay the demons of dependency, despair, and deficit thinking, and progress forward from a 500-year nightmare. The repairing is a real guide to action. That quote was offered to us from Ahmed Ali, imam and community activist. There's another quote here from Chike Okua. You know him. We love Chike Okua, PhD educator and author of Honoring Our Ancestral Obligations. Chike said, "For decades now, Kujichagulia has been on the cutting edge of providing critical solution-centered research for the African community. With a practical Pan-African perspective and tech-savvy sophistication, he has provided insightful analysis along with the empowering action plans. The repairing follows the same tradition and is a must-read for self-determined Africans seeking sovereignty." A quote from Chike Okua. And I have one more. Oh, I have other quotes. They come with the book. They're on the back cover. What if reparations were such a practical idea that we took the lead and did it for ourselves? What if? Black Wall Street model for sovereign and sustainable development. The story of Black Wall Street has always raised both pride and tragedy in the memory of American Blacks. This history of the rise of a dynamic economic community in the early 20th century, Tulsa, Oklahoma, had several phases. I documented its rise to prominence in my 2016 book, The Repairing, as an example of the creation of a prospering community, an intentional community, one might say, to serve as a role model for self-determined reparations. For far too many of our people, the Greenwood District's history is one of the lingering memories of the destruction of our best efforts, lynching and murder on a vast scale. Yet there is so much more to the story of the rise and fall of Black Wall Street than most people have been told. The period spanning the violent pogrom between May 31st to June 1st, 1921, to the district's complete rebuilding by 1926, includes a narrative of amazing resilience. In the summer of 2020, I published my 38th book, Fade to Black: The Social, Economic, and Global Health Disruptions During 2020 Are Unprecedented in Modern History. The world has been forced into a massive disruption of normality. This chaos is caused by enormous societal fear, anxiety, and panic, largely due to the current pandemic. I am a scientific futurist. Thus, when I talk about this sense of urgency, I am not engaging in hyperbole or perpetuating inconsequential criticisms of these times. We now exist within a state of emergency, of which we have received so many past warnings, the state of which was largely undeclared. For Africans living anywhere in the world, every aspect of our group's survival is essentially challenged. I have been documenting these existential threats for over 3 decades through the series of Conscious Rasta reports and my published books. Still, the problems keep getting worse. Our failure to address these challenges is proving to be a fatal flaw. We are at a critical crossroads. Is it too late for us to save ourselves from an imaginable fate? This book, Paradigm Shift: The Next Empowering Pathway for Afro-American Development, is a call to action. Will we respond? Let's talk now about the Kujichagulia villages. These are sovereign and sustainable development, intentional communities. Intentional communities as survival arcs. We'll talk about using the Kuji villages as health and wellness centers. Every living cell in your body is made from the food you eat. If you consistently eat junk food, then you will have a junk body. That quote from Jeanette Jenkins. To keep the body in good health is a duty. Otherwise, we shall not be able to keep our mind strong and clear. That from Buddha. It is clear that nutrition can powerfully influence cognition, emotion, and behavior. It is also clear that the effects of classical nutritional deficiency diseases upon mental function constitute only a small part of a rapidly expanding list of interfaces between nutrition and the mind. That quote from Dr. Melvin Werbeck. Leave your drugs in the chemist pot if you can heal the patient with food, from Hippocrates. Eating the correct raw food diet will not only improve your health and vitality dramatically, but it also affects the health of the earth. In fact, adopting a raw food diet, or mostly raw, is perhaps the most far-reaching personal decision any individual can make in order to save our planet. From Ariel Beloso. Kujichagulia villages as sustainable living permaculture academies. The villages aim to provide access to education and training for its members. The Tuskegee model is serving as our blueprint for thriving. Land, labor, education, investment capital, and governments, all 16 areas of people activity. Education facilities, ranging from preschool through to tertiary education and ongoing adult education. Kujichagulia villages providing access to quality education for all, emphasizing science, technology, engineering, mathematics, or what you and I know as STEAM ships to drive innovation. We added science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics, spirituality, holistic health, innovation, prosperity, and sustainability. That is what we will teach. Not STEM, not STEAM, but STEAM shifts. We have an impressive, or an imperative, I should say. We have an imperative to educate to STEAM shifts. Again, science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics, spirituality, holistic health, innovation, prosperity, and sustainability. Let's talk about the global health and wellness economic future. The global wellness future, let's spark a village, has been projected within this book. Today, the global health and wellness market is estimated at slightly over 5.6 trillion in annual GDP. Economic analysts have projected it to grow as much as 8.1 trillion in 2027. As we are now halfway through 2023, or maybe further along than that, this leads us to calculate that we will witness the appearance of $2.5 trillion in new economic activity within this rapidly expanding sector of the global economy. This book serves as a treasure map. Use it promptly and properly and wisely. For me, there is but one very important question that arises within this understanding. If we know where $2.5 trillion of new economic activity is going to show up and can confirm this some 3.5 years in advance, how much of that massive expansion do we plan to capture with our strategic programs? Let's spark a village and prosper by doing for ourselves and our people, by doing for our future. Let's spark a village. There will be explosive growth in this global wellness economy. This is from an article entitled "The Global Wellness Economy Reaches a Record 5.6 Trillion and is forecast to be at 8.5 trillion by 2027." The new Global Wellness Institute research reveals a wellness market surging post-pandemic, growing 12% annually since 2020 and reaching a 14% higher value than the previous record year of 2019. With strong tailwinds, it's forecast to grow another 52% by 2027. It was valued at $4.9 trillion in 2019. It fell to $4.5 trillion in 2020 due to the massive shock. In 2022, the global wellness economy reached $5.6 trillion. Global Wellness Institute projects a 8.6 average annual growth, reaching $8.5 trillion in 2027. The wellness economy represented 5.6% of global economic output in 2022. We must be the ones to invest in this global wellness growth. The wellness economy includes 11 sectors: personal care and beauty, $1.089 trillion, healthy eating, nutrition, and weight loss, which includes 1,079 billion, which comes to 1 trillion.79. Physical activity, $976 billion. Wellness tourism, $651 billion. Public health, prevention, and personalized medicine, $611 billion. Traditional and complementary medicine, $519 billion. Wellness real estate, $398 billion. Mental wellness, $181 billion. Spas, $105 billion. And workplace wellness, $51 billion. Thermal mineral springs, $46 billion expected. Well, this is the annual investment in this now, and it is expected to grow by 8% plus per annum through the next 3 years. A new self-determining economy. We talk about the Kujichagulia villages a lot. You hear us talk about it. And I do highly encourage every one of you, all of you, to get the book and get it immediately. In anticipation of going to Ghana, I went in and I pulled out 3 books. I pulled 4 books out. One, The African Future, Empowering a United and Prosperous Africa for Future Generations. But I also pulled out, along with that, 1, 2, 3 books on learning Tree language. So I'm going to go there very well prepared to do what is necessary. I have this basic course on Tree from the Foreign Service Institute, Department of State. I have Let's Learn Tree from Ma Yensua Tree from Paul F. Cote. So it's Ma Yensua Tree, which is Let's Learn Tree from Paul Cote. And then the other one I pulled out is Tree to English Dictionary, Concise Dictionary. I actually will be carrying this with me, but I intend to, why not me? I intend to master this language in the next few months. So I can do all of this. Why? Because I feel very, very confident. Can you do your part? I would like to think so, yes. We can do great things. We can do great things, but it requires for us to be great, to make the moves necessary. I welcome any and all comments from you, our listening audience. We don't have a big audience today. It's a very small audience. But at the same time, you could choose to engage. We're talking about a new self-determining economy. 18 macro functions for a Kuji village. Let's talk about these macro functions. Number 1, and let's get on the same page. Number 1, de-urbanized survival zones with housing. Number 2, elderly retirement villages. Number 3, healing retreats and wellness tourism. Number 4, campground facilities. Number 5, organic food production. Number 6, food preservation and packaging. Number 7, healing herbs, growing and packaging them for marketing in the global market. Number 8, vocational training facilities. Number 9, convention center. Number 10, outdoor amphitheater. Number 11, agri-tourism. Number 12, eco-tourism. 13, green economy home construction and training. Number 14, a sound stage for media production. Number 15, a people's university. Number 16, sustainable energy development and training. Number 17, a writer's workshop and book production. Number 18, cultural tourism. These are the 18 macro functions for Kujichagulia village. Under these 18 macro functions, we have a total of 110 economic opportunities in this book. From the book, Kujichagulia Villages, A Practical Plan for Self-Determination, a new self-determination economy, 18 functions for a Kuji village. First of all, we have to break this on down. We do stand very proud in the light of the Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles that we celebrate at Kwanzaa. These 7 principles include umoja, unity, to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race, coming together and supporting one another as a cohesive whole. Kujichagulia, the 2nd principle, self-determination, to define, name, create, and speak for ourselves. This encourages individual empowerment and self-expression. Ujima, the 3rd principle, means collective work and responsibility. It emphasizes collective effort and responsibility. We solve problems, uplift communities, and support others. Ujamaa, cooperative economics. It builds economic cooperation and wealth within our communities, supports Black businesses and economic stability. The 5th principle is Nia, purpose. Reflects a collective purpose and sets goals. Nia encourages us to work toward common objectives that benefit our community. Number 6, Kuumba, creativity. To celebrate creativity and innovation. We express ourselves through art, music, writing, and other forms of creative expression. Imani, faith, a belief in our people, our parents, our teachers, leaders, and the righteousness of struggle. Imani inspires hope, trust, and faith in a better future for us all. These principles guide Kwanzaa celebrations and serve as valuable tools for connecting with traditional African worldviews and building strong, resilient communities. We're looking at the Tuskegee model as a blueprint, and all of this is excerpted directly from the book. The Tuskegee model can serve our strategies as a blueprint for thriving: land, labor, and education, investment, capital, and governments, all 16 areas of people activity. These expanded areas, above and beyond Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and Brother Neely Fuller's teachings, we expand these areas to include conflict, consciousness, culture, entertainment, economics, education, family, health, historical perspective, justice, labor, Pan-Africanism, politics, scientific futurism, spirituality, and sustainability. Kujichagulia Village's book enables 110 distinct economic strategies and has the possibility of serving as an extension of Dr. Carver's 43 published Tuskegee bulletins. Now, I have 37 of them, and we're going to take as many of them as possible with us as we return to Africa in October for the conference. We honor our great ancestors as we continue to build upon the foundations of their visionary innovations. As we reach for the stars, we must always remember that we stand upon the shoulders of giants. Booker T. Washington and George Washington Carver, praise be your eternal name. We're talking about 16 distinct areas of people activity. They include conflict, war, consciousness, culture, entertainment, economics, education, family, sex, health, historical perspective, labor, law, Pan-African affairs, politics, scientific futurism, spirituality and/or religion, and sustainable development. This is our commitment to work. The Kujichagulia villages will be responsive to all of the above. Dr. Carver's Tuskegee Bulletins. Here are the titles of the ones that I currently have. Actually, there's a few more that I have than this, but here's a number of them. Number one, how to build up and maintain the virgin fertility of our soils. Number two, experiments with sweet potato, saving the sweet potato crop. Number three, fertilizer experiments on cotton. Four, cowpeas, which are black-eyed peas, how to cook cowpeas. Bulletins on how to build up worn out soils, not souls, soils. Cotton growing on sandy upland soils. Successful yields of small grain. The San Jose scale in Alabama. Relation of weather and soil to the fruit industry. 43 ways to save the wild plum crop. How to make cotton growing pay. Increasing the yield of corn. Some ornamental plants of Macon County. Nature study and gardening for rural schools. White and color washing with native clays of Macon County. Dairying in connection with farming. When, what, and how to can and preserve fruits and vegetables. Smudging an orchard with native material. Alfalfa, king of all fodder plants. How to grow the peanut and 105 ways of preparing it. And how to grow the tomato and 115 ways to prepare it. How to make sweet potato flour, starch, sugar, bread, and mock coconut, all from the sweet potato. That's awesome. Now, Dr. Carver authored some 43 agricultural bulletins at Tuskegee University. I have nearly all of them collected for our current and future uses, and we intend to make these pamphlets work for us. Yes, we do. And these are courses we will be teaching at the permaculture campuses we call Kujichagulia villages. What does our African family have to say about this idea? This received from an African, a group of Africans in Ghana. That's a beautiful and inspiring vision. Permaculture campuses have the potential to be a game changer for sustainable development and environmental stewardship. By integrating permaculture principles and practices into educational and industrial settings, you are creating a holistic and regenerative approach to learning, innovation, and production. Your vision not only honors the creative and industrial heritage of Africa, but also propels it forward into a sovereign and sustainable future. This is a powerful example of African innovation and self-determination, showcasing the continent's potential to lead the way in sustainable development and environmental leadership. Permaculture campuses can serve as a model for one, regenerative agriculture and food systems, two, regenerative energy and sustainable infrastructure, three, eco-friendly manufacturing and production, holistic education and community engagement, and lastly, cultural preservation and exchange. Your vision has the potential to inspire a new generation of African leaders, innovators, and change makers, and to contribute to a more sustainable and equitable future for all. Keep shining a light on this exciting project. That is what one African had to say about the Kujichagulia villages. That from Bishop Benjamin Kwame Taiwa, or Tawai, Tawia, Benjamin Kwame Tawia. And we do appreciate you, Benjamin, for all that you do for all of us. Economic literacy equals sovereign power. Economic literacy equals sovereign power. I put up a number of books and references to this, The Collapse of the American Empire from Johann Galton. So what comes next? We talk about Booker T. Washington and George Washington Carver. Can the miracle of Tuskegee University be reconstituted for the 21st century? I say yes. Please help me to prove it. We do talk about the African future. That is a very recent book to come out, and it essentially becomes the blueprint for us doing for ourselves, doing for Africa, the African future. We can do this. There's no doubt. But we have to get busy. And then I put up a number of other books here available to support what we do. All of these books focus on aspects of the intentional communities and even more. Kujichagulia Villages, a practical plan for self-development. The repairing, making reparations practical. Fade to black, the passing of a great race. If we don't act, fade to black is our fate. But that's not the only fate we're going to talk about. We want to focus on the fate that has us surviving, such as the global wellness future. Let's spark a village. And then my tour de force book, The Road to Power, 7 steps to an African global order. The Black is soil. Africa can feed the world. A scientific roadmap to agricultural preeminence for the 21st century. And paradigm shift, the next empowering pathway for Afri-Amer development. Learn more about the book Kujichagulia Villages at kujichaguliavillages.com. Get that spelling just right, and you will find the website. And I have a new set of books that I published just since December 2024. And I say that African people can solve African problems, African challenges. I love to write books. You love to read them. Let's get together. So we have the new books, Quantum Advancement, Spectacular Discoveries Along the Magnificent Way. And at the permaculture campuses, we aim to start working on the most advanced technologies that are known to humankind. We talk about standard omission. Greek medicine is descended from African medical sciences. Actually, the new subtitle for the book has changed. It is the African scientific roots of Greco-Roman medicine. That's very important title change. A year against cancer with living superfood solutions. You heard me talk a lot about this book recently. And then there is Chewicide, food so tasty, it's to die for. That's Chewicide. Then there are the other books, Living Superfood Solutions, Dietary Strategies to Prevent and Reverse Common Chronic Diseases. Disaster Preparedness for World Wars 5 and 6, World Wars 5 and 6. Yeah, we are at that stage. The untold story of how the global economic and security order is shaping up for the 21st century. The African future, empowering a united and prosperous Africa for future generations. And then there is the stem cell revolution, a holistic approach to stem cell activation and regenerative therapy. Very, very important. So these are the new books that I have put together. And I'm going to encourage each and every one of you to get a book, get 2 books. I'm going to say it again and again. You can get the books. I'll put up a link. You can get the books, can get the books at http / Keidi, KEIDI.biz / CRP 2012. That's where you can get my books. So I'm going to put this in one more time. Oh, it didn't get it. That's because I didn't copy it. I don't know what I did, but I didn't copy it. It put in something now. So you, let me type it carefully, can get my books at http / KEIDI.biz / again CRP, Conscious Rush to Press 2012. Now this time I'm going to copy it all and I'm going to place it in. So the previous one didn't go through because I didn't even copy it. It just was something I was holding on to a little bit later. So now we have done that. I have really enjoyed today's conversation. I didn't get any response from your listening audience. So this is going to be a tough road. I admit it. This is going to be hard. I have until October to prepare to go to Ghana and to present in person. I have the option of presenting via Zoom, but I need to go over there and start to claim the land that's actually been offered to us to build the Kujichagulia villages. I had earlier talked about Bishop Kwame Taiwa Tawai about what he has offered. He is working with the Ministry of Culture, which is probably going to be involved in the conference as well. I'm going to go back to the beginning of today's conversation and share with you just a little bit what we had there. I'm going to come out of here, escape this for right now. I'm going to stop sharing. And we are going to return to this double check here. We're going to return to the stream yard. There I am up on the screen. And I'm going to once again show you what we began with for today's conversation. I received this email this morning. This is from the ICESDA conference based in Ghana. It is a pleasure to inform you that your abstract has been accepted for full paper submission for the conference. Please submit your full paper on or before June 30th, 2025 via this email address. So I want to go there in person. You need to explain to tell me, do you think that I should be there? Do you think that you and I have a right to be involved in Africa's affairs? I do believe so. And I am ready, willing, and able to get involved, to be there for our people. So I just want to thank you all. I do see a message there. Let me see if I can find that message. I can't find the message. But we're going to be there We're going to make a change. You will hear me asking for support. I'm going to ask you personally to pledge at least $25. I will not be spending the money on wild and frivolous spending. I will take my own money for shopping for personal items, but we do need to invest, and we do need to take care of our business affairs. So, will you? Yes, you will. You will. You will. And on that note, I want to thank you all for participating in today's program. You've been tuned into your favorite. We aim to be your favorite. We are LIB Radio. We are LIB TV. We are livinginblack.com. Tell your friends to tell their friends that we have our own now. And we aim to develop our own for all that it is worth. We are LIB Radio, LIB TV. We are truly, truly, truly livinginblack.com. So on that note, thank you for participating in our program today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for inspiring me. You do inspire me quite a bit. On your favorite, we aim to be, we are LIB Radio, LIB TV. We are livinginblack.com. Peace and prosperity to each and every one of you. From LIB Radio, LIB TV, from livinginblack.com.